Welcome to Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, a podcast that showcases people you may not know who are choosing to use their gifts to inspire and move the planet.
You need to declutter. See, that's not fair to put that kind of value on someone. That needs to come from within. You need to figure out what the non-negotiables are. And once you work from there, you're golden.
Now, do you find when you work with people, because I just read The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Yes, love that one.
Matter of fact, I think I'm going to read it again because
Yes.
I was blessed to get it on Audible, so I can listen to it. So I've read it actually a few times, listened to it, and the thing that he talks about, the upper limits. So have you found that you have a lot of clients that run into the upper limits? And for me, the best way that I could describe it was the glass ceiling in your mind.
That's a great way to put it. I've absolutely come across that. And I think, and this is where, again, I term myself a holistic productivity coach, because I think it's so important to think about how all of these things intertwine and play together. There's always a thread running through. That upper limit is frequently connected to your family of origin story, right? And I mean, I know how aware you are with Unchain Me Mama.
Oh, yes.
Right. So your story in there, that speaks to a deeper understanding. And I hope everyone has read it and is inspired by it, because that kind of understanding helps you, the more you understand how you tick, the more you can start to apply it to what you need to let go of and what you need to declutter. So those upper limits are there, and they can come from, of course, the family of origin, but they can come from, I often talk about obligations and expectations.
Yes.
And I love to use that in a description of your to-do list. When you are looking at your task list that you've created, that ultimate task list that it just keeps growing and growing. It's like this crazy amorphous blob, and it just keeps going. That's not a true task list. And what's amazing, when you get back to that question, everything, when you look at it and you start to think in terms of those obligations and expectations, what's on that list for you to do that was never put there by you?
Oh, yes.
It was somebody else's. It belongs to someone else. When you start to identify that, you can reduce so much of what you have to do.
Yes.
And then you can look at what's left and say, all right, now how do we tackle this? And then that's when I get into the productivity side and using all the techniques to leverage your efficiency as much as possible. But the first thing we got to do is look at the stuff that does not even need to be there, and where did that come from? Always asking why.
Right. Because the thing is, you have so many things that are put into you by your parents, the people that raised you, so many things put into you by the schools, so many things put into you. When you went to college, you were one way. When you went to high school, you were one way. When you went to elementary school, you were another way. You have dragged all that stuff into your now reality.
Yeah. Society is constantly telling us things. Even supportive groups that we have can tell us something. Even I don't know if you've experienced this, Tammi, but when I have been in women business groups that have been incredible and supporting in a really positive space, sometimes I felt the overwhelm of their expectations as to how I, quote, should run my business.
Yes.
Right. So that's another one. And it's funny, because of that, and because of me saying, wait, stop. I want to question this. One of the first things I ever created as a gift was a document called Stop Saying Should. And it was a list of 7 sneaky things that we do to sabotage our happiness and our productivity. And the first one was saying should. I should do this. And so I'm like, enough already. There's no shoulds, where is it really coming from? So yeah, everything that we've gone through, all our schooling and how we were raised. And even today, when we seek out support, or sometimes we seek out support and there are people who don't quite get what we're doing. They're not on the same page, the same
Yes.
wavelength, the same energy.
Yes.
Even then, and they could have the best intentions.
Yes.
But again, it all comes back to, I like to say that one of our best productivity tools is awareness.
Exactly. Because the thing is what I find is that I've dealt with a lot of coaches and stuff like that, and people, they coach from, where they've come from, which is, of course, how we all do.
Yeah.
We come from where we come from, and then we know that we can help people, that are where we were. You know what I mean? And so
Sure.
this actually, of course, designs our ideal client.
Yes.
So, but what happens a lot of times is we deal with these coaches, and they start telling us stuff, but we start shrinking because we're not aligned to that.
Mm.
And a lot of times it's because I noticed that you also are a holistic coach, and I come from the spiritual arena, and at this time I've been struggling with something like, am I a women's intuition coach, and I don't really like the word coach. I don't like it. It. So I have gotten to the place where now I'm becoming aligned to exactly who I am, which is an intuitive healer.
There you go.
And so I had to go through that and struggle with that, just because of the coaching that I've had and some of the ones that I've dealt with, which is not anything bad toward them. It's just the fact that I know who I am and I know what I'm aligned to.
Right.
And so that brings me to a question. When you work with your clients, are you able to see where they're coming from as far as in the holistic spiritually way? Because I know that you are super intuitive, and I know that you're leaning into that more now, so that
Absolutely.
you can see, what people are dealing with, and help them to overcome in whatever area that they need to. So is that something that you always knew that you had, or is it something that is coming to you now as you grow? And you
That's such a good question. I think that I always knew that I had something, but I didn't know what to call it. I guess I would call myself intuitive. I could feel immediate. I mean, it's what brought me to the idea of coaching, and conversely for me, I like calling myself a coach because it feels right in terms of how I like to elicit and lead people. Now, I do offer in many respects, especially when we get to the productivity guru side of it, I do become a bit of a consultant, and that I will offer ideas, but it's still asking questions and really deeply understanding my clients. So there's a lot of trust that happens. So yeah, I've just always had this knack for getting in there, and I've been told that in one session I can just get somebody.
Yes, you can. I even had a session with you. It's just with our conversation.
Yeah.
It's so amazing, and Lisa is an amazing soul, and I love to connect with her.
Yep, right back at you.
This now is like so amazing, and a lot of things that I learned came from her, and she gave me just some tips and stuff, and she don't even realize that she did it probably. But it was just,
I didn't, but I love that I did, because it's one of the things I wanted to mention was that you're talking about me leaning into my intuitive side and understanding who I am, and I'm like, hello, who's helping support me in that?
Right.
You are, and again, it's a different kind of awareness of the tools that we have and the way that we work and what it is, and sometimes it's giving a name to it. And for me, I think I've just always had that something, and I'm starting to give a name to it. So maybe in a way I'm like reverse engineering it or something. I don't know. But
you know what? It's just, you're just walking in it. That's
yeah.
all. And it happens, I think, over time as we begin to, dive deep, because, the thing of it is, and you know this, Lisa, when you help other people, you also help yourself.
Yeah, so much. so much. It's such a gift and such a blessing to me every time I reach out and I connect, whether I'm having a coffee chat with somebody or I'm working with a client, and what they create feels like an extension of what I create. And it's an absolute honor for me, and it heals me as well. And I will say this, it's coming to me, so I feel like I'm going to share it, is that as you release and you declutter and you make space for the path that you're walking on, and you head toward these goals and dreams, it can be scary and it can be vulnerable. And so that, I think, is something that I really like to acknowledge and I like to hold space for. And I know you do the same thing with your clients.
Absolutely.
That's it's not I'm trying to think of the right way to say it, but it's just that I want to acknowledge that. And I think it's one of the reasons why we tend to hold on to clutter. And it can be clutter in any respect. It can be, the noise. I mean, why do you think people are on their cell phones and constantly playing games and wanting to be distracted? Because if you do that, then you block out, the real, the ish, you know what I mean?
You don't have to face stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, you're on your phone or on your tablet, or, just constantly busy.
Yes.
Yeah. It makes you not connect.
Yes. And that can be a safe place. And even though it may feel overwhelming, it's surprising how much our brains, and our hearts in conjunction with each other will do anything to block out some of the things that feel very difficult to face. And you may say, oh, I hate being so busy, but that the whole busy badge of honor thing is kind of one of those, that's my soapbox, a thing that I rail against. I'm like, stop with the busy and let's go with the truly productive, really simplifying and being efficient. So you have to ask, where's that busy come from? When you're saying yes to all those things, every time somebody asks you for something, you're putting all those things on your to-do list, and then you're lamenting that you are so overwhelmed and you have so much to do. And I'm going to ask the hard questions that are saying, where is that really coming from? That's when we start getting into boundaries. And that's a big part of productivity as well.
Well, and then do you find that there are a lot of people that you may or may not work with, but a lot of people that just want to whine?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they just want to whine, And for me, that was a part of identifying who I wanted to work with, because I did a challenge here recently.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a part of identifying who I wanted to work with. And I realized that I can't work with people that whine. I can't do it.
Mm.
I need you to own up to, what it is that, where you are.
Yeah.
And I don't need you to whine, because I can't do it. And I think about it, because even my kids, I didn't do whining.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan either. But you know what the whining is, though? I mean, not the whining that you're doing right now there with the glass. That looks good. It looks, but
it's sangria.
You got a little H2O here. Hang on.
I got a little of that too to follow.
Good. Gotta hydrate. But yeah, so the whining is, listen, we all need to blow off some steam, right? It's the distinction between,
we're talking about.
But we're talking about the wallowing, but I think there's this distinction. I was just having this conversation today, so this is perfect timing. Questioning, how you feel about taking advice and giving advice and what happens. And one of the things that I shared was that as a coach, I'm really starting to make the distinction between people who just want to complain or need to complain. I mean, listen, it's a human thing, but they're not looking for advice. And then there are people who are looking for advice, but they're not ready to take it. And then there are the people who are looking for advice and ready to get down to it. And then those are the people. And in the meantime, I will hold space very lightly and positively and encouragingly for the others until they're ready, if they're ready. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're just not ready yet.
Right, because we get to a place where, we can encourage, and I don't have any problem with encouraging. I'll encourage anybody because I know that everybody needs it. And I guess that's why I call myself the intuitive empowerment diva. But I'll encourage anybody because I know everybody needs some encouragement sometime, you know, and I have no issues with that. However, I do need, you know, if we're going to work together, I need you to accept the responsibility. Just like with you, you know, if you are cluttered and, you know, you got shit all over, like right now, I need to clean my office, and that's what I'm starting to work on this weekend when I'm off. You know, I know it needs to be clean. I need to straighten it out and stuff like that. However, you know what I mean? If I'm not ready to do that, and I'm calling you to work with you and say, you know, I need to work with you because I need more productivity, because I feel stagnant, because I'm not moving, because my business is not moving, my home is in a shambles or whatever, and I need to work with you. Right. But if I'm not willing to clear away the clutter, you know, what would you say to me to see or to gauge whether or not we can work together?
Well, I guess the question would be, when you're saying I'm not willing to clear away the clutter, you're probably not actually using those words with me. You're probably saying, well, but I have this conflict and I don't know when I can do this. You're putting me off. You're definitely, one of my favorite sayings, I don't even know where it came from in terms of, and this is great for those listening in and working on their businesses, is watching the idea of watching someone's feet and not their mouth. So in other words, watch their actions and what they're doing. If they say to you, I'm ready to do this, I want to book this, then they are, I'll give you an example. I had a client recently who was expressing some interest. I've had other potential clients who've expressed interest and then I don't hear from them, or they're unsure, and you kind of get that energy from them. And then I had one recently where she was like expressed interest and then she immediately got onto my scheduler and booked a session, and then I saw her sign up for my free resources on my, and then she liked my business page, and I mean, she was all over. She was on it. So her actions were what showed that. What would I say to someone who doesn't seem ready? I might actually simply call it out to say, well, you know, what steps are you willing to take or ready to take right now? How are you feeling right now? What other concerns do you have? I might just have a conversation like that.
Okay.
And what I was wondering from you, I feel like this idea of these different levels of readiness and where people come to you and whining and complaining or things like that, do you find too that there's a big energy drain there? So you've had to identify it. So you can be encouraging, but when you have a one-sided energy flow, especially when you're someone as giving as you are, that's difficult, right?
I think it has forced me to create boundaries.
Absolutely.
You know, I just like you said, and I've always been that way. I've always been giving, and I usually overgive, you know, and I'm learning to create the boundaries that I need.
Yeah.
Because you're right, the energy, you know, woo, people sap my energy daily, and I can feel it. It's almost like I can feel them just like stick a straw in me and just suck.
Yeah, yeah. And they don't even mean it. It can be like someone who's drowning in the water and they're really just clinging, and you offer such, yeah, absolutely. And you offer this, you know, hope and positivity. So there's, yeah. And we mentioned it very quickly earlier, that boundaries are such a key part to being more productive. And so understanding those limits that you have, that you can be encouraging up into a point, that you can be encouraging within a specific construct, like maybe a group of people, but you can't necessarily do it one-to-one until they're really ready for you to help them. And you speak to something else that's really important for productivity. I term it energy management. A big part of what we do is understanding when we do it, how we do it, and how much it takes out of us.
Yes, absolutely.
And so then that informs everything else you do. It informs how often you do it, when you do it, whatever it is, whether you are working with clients or it doesn't really matter. Whatever the project happens to be or the action happens to be, if you have this awareness of how much it takes from you,
Yes.
you
And
can
which
think.
is why you have to set limits and boundaries, and you have to say, like, I'm in the process of creating doing sister circles where I live.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I'm not from here, so it's a little bit more taxing to me, I think, just because, people don't know me.
Right.
They see me in the Natural Awakenings magazine because I'm advertising in there and
Right.
stuff like that. But but I'm not like, it's not like my town, like
Right.
where I'm from or where I've been for years or anything like that. So I've decided that, I'm just gonna have to put myself out there.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm doing. So I'm networking and all this kind of stuff. But this is something that I've noticed that they need here through the work where my day job is. I talk to the women and they're having all these issues in their body and they don't find anything when they go do the test. And they're like, I don't know what's wrong, And so I talk to them a little bit. I'm like, are you stressed? What's going on in your life? And they're like, of course I'm stressed. I'm a woman,
Right.
But so I realized and I talked to them and I asked them, do you have any circles that you join? Do you have any type of groups or anything that you're a part of? Is there some way that you can bounce some things off? And so I realized that there's a need here where I live.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I decided that I'm going to do, because I know that it's a need, you know what I mean? And I know it's not like it's not a get rich quick type of situation or anything like that, but it's a need. And I feel like it'll open up more doors as well.
Absolutely.
But I know that there are boundaries that you have to set. And I even set them now because, when I meet people and I talk to them, I still sometimes get that vampire effect. And I know that it's nothing but because they can sense, that I'm a calm spirit and they can sense that I'm, a sweet spirit and that I'm a giving spirit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't they want time with you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
So,
you're not going to suck me dry for free.
right. So there you go. So boundaries for that. And the other thing that's sort of coming up in this description is the effort that it takes. And so this plays into another kind of awareness is when we think about, are we introverts or extroverts? Where do we get our energy from? How much effort is this going to take? If you go to a networking meeting, let's say, or maybe here's an example, you're an introvert and a coach and you have a client call and that can be beautiful and amazing, but it can still take a lot out of you. Then don't schedule a networking meeting that night, which is also going to take a lot out of you, unless you have an extrovert buddy like me who you can go along with. You know what I mean? So it's thinking in those terms of like that balance and giving yourself recovery time and buffer.
Right, because I tell you, I have started going to Toastmasters meetings because it's on my list to be a speaker because I do that. But just like you said, I know that I'm super introvert, although I don't play one on TV.
That's so true.
On TV,
but I knew.
I'm super introverted, you know what I mean? So it's like when I go to these things, I always shield and protect myself, when I go. And I always, cover myself in a glass jar or put a bubble around me or whatever it is, But I do these things because I already know. And when I go, there's always somebody, you know what I mean? But I know it's what I have to do, that I have to network.
Yes.
So I have to get myself out there. So it's like, I know I have to go and do these things. So for the people that you work with, what would you say to them if they were at that point where they know they have to go, but they're super introverted, and they know that they need to get out there if they want to get their business out, if they want to do what do they call it? When you get to the 5-figure incomes or whatever the people say, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Everybody is talking about, oh, get a 5-figure month. That's great. That's awesome. But you got to put yourself out there to do that.
Right.
So what would you say to these people that you were working with? Because that actually is a part of productivity.
Yeah, that's a huge part. And I think, first of all, acknowledging who you are and how you work, so that you're an introvert, right? And by the way, I also want to mention another way that we work in terms of our accountability, and this plays into my answer. Gretchen Rubin, she wrote The Happiness Project, Better Than Before, and The Four Tendencies. And the Four Tendencies, have you taken that quiz? Have you heard of that? I'd love for you to, yeah, I'd love for you to take that quiz. See, there's all these different kinds of quizzes out there, and I take it all with a grain of salt, because not one quiz, or one quiz is not going to say exactly who you are, but it gives you hints as to how you work. Right. And so there are these four tendencies that she found with inner and outer expectations and how we show up in our accountability. So if you happen to be an obliger, which I suspect you might be, and it's also a large percentage of the population, you could be an obliger, an upholder, a questioner, and a rebel. And it doesn't mean that you are those personally. As far as like a rebel, it's not like, you're on a bike and, in a movie with James Dean. It's like, it's more having to do with struggling with inner and outer expectations. I am a questioner. So it means always inner expectations for me. I need to understand exactly why I'm doing something, and it's what makes me the coach that I am, so it kind of fits. My point being, when you understand some of those elements and you start to match them up, let's say you are an obliger and an introvert, then I understand that you need to find a reason to be out there and maybe an accountability partner. One of the things I mentioned before with an introvert having to go to a networking event is if there's any chance you can buddy up with an extrovert. That can be a great, not even a barrier, but almost like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's the buddy system, but it's even better because they can help sort of blaze a path for you.
Yeah, like they can navigate for you.
Right. See, some of the bandwidth that you use up energetically is in initiating a conversation, I bet. But once it's initiated, keeping the flow going is not as difficult for you, right?
Right.
Yeah. So right. So if you can find someone to help you with the initial, or even if you touch base at an event, if you maybe talk to the person who's in charge and say, I'm hoping to meet a few more people and I'm new here. Do you think you could introduce me to a couple of people? This is kind of what I do. Do you have any suggestions? I would really appreciate that. That would help, it'd be a nice, warm introduction, and I'd really appreciate that. Could you do that? Maybe just 3 people. 3 is a magic number, Schoolhouse Rock. But maybe that, right? So that would be something that I would suggest, because yes, you know that you need to do this. Now, there are going to be other ways that you can do this. You can start off with, softer contact through Facebook groups, but you still have to move toward having, especially locally, a real live coffee chat. Of course, introverts and the internet are like, BFFs now, right? Yes. So there are many different ways, but I would say that if you're feeling that you have a local event, you want to get into community and you're challenged in that way, I would buddy up. That would be my suggestion.
That is a good suggestion.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys are paying attention, because these are real life suggestions that she's doing. Real life helping you to get in the way of productivity so that you can get your life straight, you can get your business straight, you can get on the good foot in the right direction.
Yeah, and do it your way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Explain that. Explain that.
I just say own it, because, I was saying before about how I love to give my clients permission in a way. And I'll give an example of someone I was working with. I learned about her, and I love to know about so many things that you wouldn't necessarily expect to have to do with how productive you are, or what you're doing or accomplishing things, like your circadian rhythms. Like, where are you most, this does go back to where are you most energetic during the day. And it turns out she was very much a night owl, and what she was doing, she's an artist. Everything spoke to the fact that she's high energy at night. And all of these expectations out in society were all like, you need to get up in the morning and you need to have a morning routine and do this and do that. And I said, how about a night routine? How do we focus on your night routine? And she's like, really? I'm like, Yeah. I said, no, you're going to have to do a few things in the morning because, on account of being human and in the society. But how about you do the bulk of the work and prep for the next day? So you're doing a day ahead. Now, that's still a good thing for any of us to do. But for her, it would be like 90% of the bulk of the work then when she's energized and ready to go.
Right.
And then she only has to do a few things in the morning. She can sleep longer. She can take longer to kind of warm up to the day. And then she's working with her energy and how she likes to do things. And it's feeling more authentic. And to me, that's the best combination.
Yes. Now you said something there that was a mouthful. That she was feeling more authentic.
Yeah.
So the importance is the feeling more authentic. The feeling part is the most important thing. And the other thing is she was able to tailor it to her life, tailor it to how she lives, tailor it to where her energy lies. And that's something that's different because just like you said, there are so many that say, oh, well, get up in the morning and work out and, have a routine and have a ritual and this, that, and the third. But that ain't your life.
Exactly.
I mean, I understand that because I'm more of a day person, but my husband is more of a night owl.
Oh, absolutely. I'll give you another example, and it's my personal example. I used to have this idea that I needed to do a morning routine as well, but the way that my household works with 2 young children, needing to get everyone up and supporting them, and it's simply a fact, especially with my values. See, it all comes down to where our values are and making sure we're aligned. That's one of the first things I do is work on core values and understand. So one of my great values is being a mom and being a present mom in what they're doing. And it's just how this is in my life, and this is what I want to do. So embracing that, I want to be there, helping them get ready, prepped for school, taking care of things. And so I realized that I could get up and center myself and do my gratitude ritual, then get them set and shift, and then wait for them to go, and then do sort of, I guess, the rest of the things that I wanted to do, such as, getting some inspiration, doing some meditation and so forth. Do it in shifts, if you will.
Right.
That you can break it up. There's no right or wrong. There's only what's right for you and wrong for you, not right or wrong in general. So there's nothing that says that we can't break it up and do little bits and pieces. And I started to explore that. Become a scientist for yourself, start doing experiments like, ooh, let me try this. One of the things I found, my favorite time to meditate is actually before I pick them up from the bus. Because it transitions me out of what I was doing and kind of centers me and gets me ready to kind of shift back into mom mode.
That's nice. That's
Thank
nice.
you.
And the thing is you wouldn't know that unless you took time with yourself to see, how you need to tick.
Yeah.
Because I understand that when my kids were young, I used to work night shift. So I would get up in the morning and that's when I would cook dinner. My kids did not like fast food like that. My kids homegrown. They like food, real food, cooked food.
Yeah, I'm with them.
You know what I mean? So they did not, they were like, Mama, McDonald's is a snack, not meant to be a meal. So I would have to cook. So I would cook big pots, and I would, in the morning when I got off, I would cook, have everything ready. So by the time, they got home from school, they would have dinner. They had to warm it up. But dinner was made and it was ready. And I had time to, sleep and then get up and do homework and all that stuff. So, that morning routine stuff, that stuff went out the window.
But that was your own morning routine, if you will. It's perfect. Yeah, you made it work for you.
Exactly. And
that's a great example.
So that's what I'm happy that you are a holistic productivity coach, because to me that means that you take everything into account for the whole person and not just, you need to clean up. You need to get rid of the clutter. You need to straighten up, that kind of thing. and you listen to what the people are saying to you, because there's so many people that call themselves coaches, but they don't listen to what the people are saying. They're not hearing the people. So I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to see the vision where your business is going. Have you thought about doing any seminars? Are you doing any workshops or anything in your local area?
I am actually. You know already about my gratitude series. I just want to mention it real quick, the Positively Grateful series. I'm so excited because November is the 1-year anniversary of the series.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? How did that happen? I don't even know.
My God.
So I'm thinking, I was sitting here this time last year, it was on my heart. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And I don't know how it's connected. Now I know how it's connected. It's a total power habit. It aligns us. It grounds us. It does incredible things for us. And it's what we can, take as a root and just grow with. So I'm absolutely on point with it now. But all I knew was I knew it in my heart. So I'm going to be celebrating big and doing quite a few wonderful things, including some personal stories and stuff like that. Anyhow, awesome. with that, the gratitude series has grown into something so beautiful. And now I'm going to take it locally. I just had a local public library approve doing a Gifts of Gratitude workshop.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about that.
That's awesome.
And I have a couple of other workshops kind of in the works. I want to do a mom life series. And, I'm also thinking about how I can support people coming up into the holiday season. I think there's some challenges there. And again, in terms of simplifying and letting go of expectations. Oh, and I also have a local vision board workshop coming up as well. Love the vision boards.
Awesome.
So, and then online, I'll keep doing the gratitude series and probably incorporate. I like being able to do both online and local. I think they're both good.
So what is your vision for the future?
Take over the world? No, maybe. My vision for the future with Positively Productive is for it to be this entity of hope and inspiration and habit formation in a way that is really doable for people. And I plan to have a huge gratitude series that I'm going to keep going as my gift to everyone. I'm going to keep that in its entirety as free as I can for as long as I can. And I don't see why I can't do that. It's my business and it's my choice. So that is going to be the gift I continue to give. And really where I'm going with all of this, I don't always have the specific detailed visions of these things, because I find that keeping more fluid and organic and letting the people that I serve lead me, which is how I work as a coach, makes the most sense for how I grow my business as well.
Right.
However, my overall vision or my desire is to create a movement.
That actually was the question I was getting ready to ask. What's your big?
Yeah, that's my big vision, and my mid vision. It's just all the same. I want to create a movement. One of the things someone said recently to me, actually a couple of people have said this, and it's been this huge gift, and I'm honored and humbled to even speak it, is they say that I speak hope into them.
You do.
Thank you. But it's overwhelming to me to say that, but I'm clinging to this idea that I want to keep doing that. I want to do more of that. So yeah, my big vision is a movement of, I named my company before I even knew what that vision was, so that, my company name, Positively Productive, is an intention.
Yes.
I want you to be positively productive. Yes. So my big vision is to create a movement of hope and of clarity and of awareness of something greater, that the more we can simplify and declutter and become efficient with the things that we need to do, we open up the space to do the things that we want to do, not even want to do, that we're meant to do. And the
Yes.
more I can help people set up to do that, the more we're just going to keep changing the world as a collective.
You're exactly right, because I believe that the more people are productive, then the more they can relax, the more they can chill out, because people are too freaking uptight.
So true. Let's laugh and have some fun, right?
You know, I mean, they are so uptight, but I guess
because they're hurting, because they're in survival mode, because they don't know that there's another way, or they think there might be, but they dare not even dream. And that's what I'm trying to break the stigma of. I'm like, no, dream. There is a better way. You can so do this.
So you're so much more than a productivity coach.
I had to give myself a title.
You are a healer, girl. You're a healer.
Oh, thank you.
Because the thing is, I mean, that's what people need, because people, just like you said, they're hurting. And I actually experienced that in my job, you know, my day job. You know, they were talking about this young lady, and they were talking about how annoying she is and stuff like that. I said, you know what it is? I said, she's hurting. I said, nobody sees her.
Yeah.
I said, that's the problem. I said, it's like she's not seen, you know, and so, you know, in her mind, she feels like she needs to be annoying in order to be seen.
Absolutely. People will do whatever it takes to get those needs met, to get that attention. You see that with children who don't behave all the time, is that they'll go for the negative because it's still attention.
Yes.
We will go for the hard thing, the thing that makes us miserable, because there's a comfort in knowing it. We'll go for the known before we're willing to change. So I'm trying to bridge that path to help people change, because you can do it in small baby steps. It's okay. It works. And the more you do that, you build that muscle, the more you create that hope in you. And then you're like, okay, momentum, I can do this.
So the thing is as long as they are able to see some light, as long as they're able to grab hold of some hope,
yes,
you can help them make the changes.
Absolutely.
Okay, Lisa, so what we're going to do now is this has been going on for a while. So what we're going to do is I want you to introduce, you can put in the comments your freebie that you're going to give away to the people.
Sure.
And also introduce something that you're selling, you know, a service that you're providing for people that would like to work with you.
Oh, wonderful. That would be great. I can do that right in the comments.
Yes.
Okay.
So she's going to put in the comments, you know, her freebie, and you just click on it and do what she says, and you'll get your free gift from her. And also she's going to put an offer in there. What are you offering?
I actually have the initial productivity session that I do, which is a 90-minute session. And what's great about that is it could be a standalone, or it can be the introduction to working together longer term. So it's a really great way to see what it's like to be coached, and to kind of unpack things a bit and really understand where you are and get some clarity on what you need to do next. And that's how I start with everyone. That's step one for everyone. So it makes it super easy, and it's a very encouraging and simple step to take.
And how much are you offering that for?
And that's $97.
$97. Okay, guys. So for $97, you guys can get a 90-minute session with Lisa. That's barely a dollar a minute.
Yeah.
So you can get a 90-minute session with Lisa, so that you can begin to see where you need help. Sometimes people don't know they need help. Sometimes they're not sure how help they need. Sometimes they'll just resonate with what you're saying, and it'll prick their heart, and they'll say, you know what, I want to work with her. So if that's you, she's going to put in the comments how you can get in touch with her and how you can get that 90-minute session for $97. And I'm excited to be able to bring Lisa Zawrotny on so that she can talk about the productivity and how you can be more productive in your life and in your business. And she does it from a holistic perspective, which means she incorporates your whole body and your whole mind and your whole spirit into this productivity model. So I want to thank Lisa for joining me today on Straight Outta Savannah, Talking with Tammi. And if you're wondering why I named it that, because I'm from Savannah, Georgia. You know, and I feel like Jesus. Nothing comes out of Savannah but me.
And it's as cool as you are, so I love it. Tammi, you know I love talking to you so much. Thank you for this, for your generosity and your graciousness, and for letting me talk about my favorite thing ever. And I hope it's inspired some of you. I'll leave you with this. When you are overwhelmed, always look to see what you can subtract, not add.
Yes. Yes, that's a good point, Lisa, because a lot of times we get overwhelmed and we start trying to put stuff on top of the overwhelm.
Yep.
And you can't do that. You have to take some away.
Exactly.
It's like, now I'm gonna get on just a little for a second. People were talking about the feminist movement and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, my grandmother told me that feminism was something for women to do more work.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I believe that. Because, you know, they were talking about, well, you know, you can bring home the bacon and fry it up in the pan and never let them forget you, you know, and all that stuff. But the thing is you were going to do that anyway.
Right.
So what is the big deal? You know, so that is my take from that. You know, you have overwhelm and you're dealing with all this stuff, and then you're just putting more shit on top of it so you can, being super overwhelmed?
So you can totally break down? Don't do it.
Totally right. So you can totally break down and you can, you know, go sit somewhere and rock and suffer from depression, or, you know, get some drugs so you can take in order to make yourself feel better. I mean, I don't know. But she's right, you know, that overwhelm is like a warning. It's like the warning light in your car when it tells you you don't have no damn oil. It's getting low. Or the light in the car where it says your tire ain't got no air. It's a warning light. So it means you need some help. You need to figure some shit out. You need to get straight.
Love it.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, Lisa. We will definitely have another conversation because Lisa and I always have amazing conversations. And I hope that all of you watching, and those of you that catch the replay, make sure you put replay so that we can thank you for watching and joining.
Yeah, so, and feel free to ask questions too, because I'll come in and comment and answer.
If you have questions, make sure you pop in here. I haven't seen any lately. I've been looking. Have you seen any on yours?
Oh, I haven't, honestly. I've been so excited talking to you. I haven't seen any. So. If you did, I promise we'll go back and we'll address it. I promise.
Yeah. So if you have questions for Lisa, you know, make sure you pop them into the comments, and she'll go back and look, and I'll go back and look, and we'll see if we can't get you the answers that you need. But I'm so thrilled to be here, and I'm so thrilled to be talking to my sister girl Lisa. And I'm so thrilled that you all decided to join us with Straight Outta Savannah, Talking with Tammi. And we'll be doing this again next Thursday night. Matter of fact, it seems like Thursday night is the night we're going to be doing it again. So look out for the promo that we'll be doing. And I just really appreciate your time. And I thank you, Lisa, for joining me. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
I know you've been blown away with the amazing value here today. Now go out and inspire the planet. And be sure to send us a message when you're ready to come talk about it on Straight Outta Savannah, Talking with Tammi.